All right, so you were just given the other day this packet. We are going to be using this first page in our Pronouns Foldables packet, and this page, and this page today. So the first 3 pages is what we're going to be cutting out and gluing in. We're not going to take many notes on these today. We're kind of just setting these first 3 pages up for the rest of our unit. So open up to your next available page in your composition notebook, and we're going to write down at the top is our title, types of pronouns, and you are going to be ripping this first page out. So we're going to be using this page here with all the squiggly lines and the boxes on it. And you'll see there are 2 long rectangles. We're going to cut these rectangles out separately. So we're going to have 2 big rectangles cut out when we're all done. And you'll notice there are some dotted lines. If you remember, dotted lines usually mean we're cutting somewhere. So we are going to be cutting each one of these out as a flap. Cut another big rectangle out. So I have this first one cut out here like this. And now I'm cutting the bottom one out just the same way. Okay, now I have 2 boxes just like this. These boxes are going to be cut out and glued the same way still. You are going to be cutting on the dotted lines that you see here, stopping where it meets with this solid line perpendicular to it. Each one of these is going to be a flap that we're going to write underneath. Same thing with this box. Okay, then we're going to glue this one on first. So this one's going to go on the top, and the one with the personal pronouns is going to be the one that's on the top. You are going to be gluing the back side of just this top bar down because we are going to be writing underneath the flaps. So we're not going to glue anything beside the back of this top flap. So the one that says personal pronouns is going to go on the top, just like this. And then a little bit further down the page, you're going to do the same thing with this one. Just glue the back of the top bar. Glue it down. So your page, when it's all done, should look like this. And you have little flaps that you're going to be writing underneath. Okay, next page. Your title is going to be Types of Pronouns Practice. So I guess I will pause right here. Pause the video if you need to finish cutting and gluing this out. And then press play when you're ready. Next page is going to be Types of Pronouns Practice. And we're going to take the next page from our packet, which looks like this. And we're going to cut this square out all the way around the outside. Okay, so it looks just like this when you're done. And then you'll notice dotted lines. We're going to cut on each one of these dotted lines so that these sentences are little flaps that are separate from each other, stopping where the dotted line meets with the solid line here. So again, just like this. Okay, then we're going to glue just the back of this flap down on the page. And this can go anywhere on the page. This is the only thing we are putting on this page here. So when we're done, it should look like this, with all of these separate from each other. Go ahead and pause this video right now if you need to finish this page up, and then press play when you're ready to move on to the next page. The next page, we're just going to write pronouns up at the top. And this is kind of similar to another page that we've done in a previous unit where this was just kind of informational. We aren't going to be doing much on this page, but this is just for you to have in case you want to look at it, refer to it. So you're going to cut it all the way around the outside. and you're going to glue the whole thing down. Just like this. All the way around the outside. And just glue the whole thing down. Back side of your paper. Okay, and then that is all we're going to set up today, but I do need you to head back to this page here, the first page we did. We're going to fill out the personal pronouns tab or flap underneath, so you can fold this up. This is going to be a page that we're going to work on throughout the whole unit, so as we learn each type of pronoun, we will come back to this page and fill out underneath the flap. So pronouns, pretty fitting to do right after our nouns unit. So nouns are person, place, thing, or idea. Pronouns are very basic, not specific people or things. A lot of the times you'll find, and personal pronouns are kind of just the general pronouns that we normally think of. So underneath this flap, we're going to write your typical pronouns. Pronouns. Make sure you spell it right, Mrs. Hurst. Pronouns. So it's Pronouns. They represent people or things, and they're not specifically defined. Meaning, well, I'll give you some examples here and then I'll explain. So examples, I, you, he, she, it, we, they, tons more of examples, but these are just some of the most common ones, or just ones that I thought of quickly here to write down as examples. So go ahead and pause this if you need to finish up the notes, but I'm going to keep talking about them. Like I said before, they're not specifically defined. So I, you, he, she, it, we, they, they're very general terms for nouns, so for people or things. It's not naming a person's name. It's not saying that girl with the red shirt. It's just saying you or he or she. Yes, we can figure out the gender, but they're very broad. It's just general. So if you think back to the nouns, when it had common and proper, actually, let's turn back to that page quick. And you had the two pictures of people without eyes and then people with eyes. You can kind of think of pronouns and then regular nouns. So pronouns are very general. There's no names given to them. So you can kind of think of the people without eyes, if that's not weird to talk about. So they are very bland, general classifications of people or things. Then, as we go through the unit, we will dig into the different types of pronouns, but these are just your typical everyday personal pronouns. Okay, so I'm going to close this. Then I'm going to have you flip open to, actually, we're going to go back to the page here that we just glued down. And this is kind of saying a lot of personal pronouns. So we could even title this personal pronouns up here, but this is just common pronouns that you'll see. He, she, it, they, them, their, him, you, me, mine, us, we, her, I. And then just some examples. My mom and dad went shopping. That would be very specific. Well, my is a pronoun, but mom and dad are very specific. Even though it's not saying their name, it's still more specific than they went shopping. If we were just given this bottom sentence, we wouldn't know who they is. But then we add mom and dad in and we go, oh, okay, it's now a little more detailed of who's doing the shopping. David drove to the store. He drove to the store. Jack threw the ball to the dog. He threw the ball to it. If we were to cover up these top sentences, we would go, okay, I'm not really sure what's going on. Once we find this out, we go, oh, now there's more detail. The nouns are more specific. There's no pronouns being used. Okay. You do have a Google form that's attached to this assignment, and what you're going to do is just look at each sentence and tell me what the pronouns are in each sentence. So you're just going to recognize them in a sentence. Please go back and look at this video again if you need to catch up on any of the notes that we took on any of the pages. We just did underneath this flap, and that was it today. Okay? Otherwise, let me know if you have any questions.